the biggest myth that people have about stock market?
Where the wealthy people keep getting wealthy,
Okay.
the rich keep getting richer, right? So why is this? Like, what is it with money?
Yeah.
And is it something that I don't know?
What is the most common mistake that you see new traders make?
When I first time heard about Bitcoin, so this was my introduction to finance. I invested that, and back then Bitcoin was trading at around $500.
Okay.
So the exchange rate back then was like what, 30 rupees. I mean 30 rupees for every dollar. That's some like 15-20,000.
Really?
Yes, back in 2016-15. And then I invested that in Bitcoin. And in a span of 6 to 7 months, I almost doubled that money and I sold it off.
Welcome to Risk and Reward Corner, the ultimate podcast for traders, investors, and financial enthusiasts, brought to you by City Index. So today we have with us Mr. Rahul Kolkar, founder of ClimbingMinds. Hi Rahul, how are you?
Hi Shweta, I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So can we have a brief intro about yourself and your venture?
Sure. So hi everybody. My name is Rahul Kolkar, founder of ClimbingMinds. I also am into mutual fund distribution.
Okay.
Apart from that, I also love creating content. I've been doing it for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And in this entire journey, I also love mentoring students.
Oh, that's
so that is
amazing.
also one thing that we do. So yeah, roughly these are the 3-4 things that I'm usually occupied with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So ClimbingMinds is about?
So ClimbingMinds is basically an edtech, and we're into verticalized upskilling, which means that we have it's me, there's another 2 partners that run ClimbingMinds. So we have a background in finance.
Okay.
So we are there in finance for the last 6 to 7 years now.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. So what we do is we basically run programs in core finance.
Okay.
So things like equity research, financial modeling, financial analysis, quant trading. So we teach this to students.
Okay.
Because usually what students think and what most of the parents think when they are, when their child tells them, I want to build a career in finance, usually the parents think it is stock
Risky.
market.
Okay. Stock market. Okay.
Yeah. And there is no approval. Or usually it is CA, CFA. This is the max that people, students know. But, there are different things like equity research, financial modeling. One can be a financial analyst.
Yeah.
One can also be an investment banker.
Yeah.
So these are the things that students didn't know, and we knew about it. So we wanted to introduce this in our city, and also make it, affordable to everyone.
Okay, that's great.
So that is why we started ClimbingMinds. So we are still pre-revenue. We want to start with our founding batch, and it will happen very soon.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So how did your journey in finance begin?
Okay. So I was always enterprising. I had that entrepreneurial kida. I had that
mindset.
in me.
You had that kind of mindset.
From the beginning. Like if I can recall, this was in 6th standard. So when I was in 6th, this is back in 2012.
Okay.
So this was the time when, personal computers had become a thing. So everybody had their own computers at their home.
Yeah.
Earlier it was you either had the lab classes at school.
Yeah.
And 1 to 2 days you used to get to use
limited
the
access
computers. So this was 2015-16 when personal computers came into everybody's home.
Yeah.
So there was this game called GTA Vice City, which I'm sure everybody has played.
Yeah.
Right. So there was this game GTA Vice City. There was San Andreas. So what I used to do, I had learned something called as burning a CD, where you install a game in another CD.
Okay.
So what I used to do back in 6th standard is that I used to get these Moser Bear CDs. To get it at what, like 25-30 rupees.
Yeah.
I used to install those games in those CDs and sell it to my friends.
Oh wow! So you had an entrepreneurial mindset
always,
back then.
Yeah, always. So those games were available. The supply was very less.
Yeah.
And if they were available, they were at a price of like 200, 250 outside. So
this was the first
yes.
piloting you started.
Yeah, this was the first venture. This was like a first, like I had to do something to make money sort of thing that started. And yes, I used to sell it at 90 rupees, sometimes 120. So there was a gap, right? If I were to buy it outside, it was at 250.
Yeah.
So I sold it to my friends at 90, 120. So it was a good deal for them also.
Yeah.
I got the CDs at 30.
Yeah.
And I used to sell it at 90. So that 60 rupees was something that I made.
Yeah.
So in a very short span of time, I had like made some 3,000 or 4,000 rupees.
That was a great plan back then when you were in 6th standard. Nobody can imagine a 6th standard guy can think about all this and get into it.
Yes. So this is how that entrepreneurial thing started. And finance, I was always fascinated with money as a concept, like how it works and why is it that, only there's a very, there is a distribution in India where the wealthy people keep getting wealthy, the rich keep getting richer, right? So why is this? Like, what is it with money? And is it something that I don't know? So these are the things that I used to always wonder, like right from like 6th, 7th, 8th, I used to keep thinking about money. Like, what is this? And how can, why is there such a big difference? So all of these things, led me to trying out different things to make money. So I did drop shipping as well for some time.
You experimented everything?
Yes, I experimented everything. I did drop shipping, and for a very brief span of time, I was into affiliate marketing as well. And I started my YouTube channel.
So the big brands, Amazon, Flipkart.
Yeah, Amazon. How it started, I'll tell you. Like, I started my YouTube channel in 2016. So I started creating videos. So I used to play games. So instead of just playing games, why not just record it and put it online? And back then, there was no, like, now we have the 1,000-hour rule, or maybe 4,000 hours of this thing of content should be watched, and 1,000 subscribers. Back then, it was not like that. So you could easily monetize. Yeah. So I started my YouTube channel, and I used to do reviews. So let's say I bought this tripod. So I still have this tripod video. And then people started to ask me, where is this tripod from? Give me the link. So I learned about affiliate marketing. When you share a link, you get a percentage or commission of it.
Just not for free. Just
yes.
Why don't you make
some money out of it? So that's how affiliate marketing started. And this was the year 2016 when I first time heard about Bitcoin. So this was my introduction to finance. In not financial market, but just finance and what this new thing is. Was before that I'd heard about stocks, I'd heard about mutual funds, heard about gold and all these investment options. But what is this cryptocurrency? I was very fascinated.
Most of our viewers who are of your age must be thinking same. 2016 even I thought got to know about Bitcoin and all.
Yes, so I got to know about it, and I did my own research, and again I had gotten little scholarship back then in my school days. So I invested that amount in Bitcoin. Yeah, I invested that, and back then Bitcoin was trading at around $500. So the exchange rate back then was like 30 rupees. I mean, 30 rupees for every dollar. That's some like 15,000-20,000. Really? Yes, back in 2016-15. And then I invested that in Bitcoin. And in a span of 6 to 7 months, I almost doubled that money, and I sold it off. Yeah, so this was like my first introduction to anything in finance. Then at that point of time, we used to have something called as ICOs, the initial coin offerings. So now we have the IPOs.
Blockchain, whatever coins are made. So you can just.
So usually, like, IPOs are like when any new company wants to get listed, it makes an IPO. In the same way, any crypto, if it wants to get listed on the exchange, it goes for an ICO. So back then we had ICOs. So I invested in some of these ICOs. I made some money there. And this was when I had just started my PUC. Then I got to understand something about trading. Like, there is something called as intraday trading that you do. Right? So I stopped cryptocurrency. Like, I made, you can say that it was my beginner's luck there. I made some money. But that regret is still there. I always keep telling my friends and my family that I've missed one big bus in life of Bitcoin. If I would have holded that Bitcoin till now.
You sold it off, right?
I sold it off very early after doubling it. But I've held
Didn't you think that, I'll invest in some more, like Bitcoin itself, like half of it you'll invest and then you'll make another double or something like that?
What could a 16-year-old have in his head?
Like when it's beginner's luck, you actually tend to think of that kind of thing. Like, aaj double ho gaya hai, kal 4 times ho sakta hai, something like that?
No, actually, the thing here was that, I had invested this amount and I was not aware about all these asset classes. Like, how do you build and how do you preserve money, firstly? How do you build on top of it? I was not aware of this.
Who was the person who
introduced this to me? It was all YouTube videos. I didn't have any mentor, anything like that back then. It was all YouTube videos, and it was all research. Right. So invested in Bitcoin, got lucky there. And then I started to hear about something called as intraday trading. And I was fascinated by that. And none of my friends, none of my family is into finance or stock market. I'm the only person right now in my family So again, a huge credit also goes to my parents for allowing me to pursue this career, because a lot
They
of
supported
parents,
you.
will think that stock market is only gambling.
Yes, yes,
They
yes.
do not encourage
Even
you.
many of my friends say the
Yes.
same, that their parents
Yes.
do not allow them. They say it's a
Yes.
gambling and everything.
So it's lucky for me that I had supportive parents and sister, so they allowed me to do whatever I want to do, because I was doing it with my money, so not concerned, and I was pretty young. So even if I lose it, I still have a lot of time to make something out of it, right?
Yeah,
So this
actually,
was
you are
24 right
you're
now.
24. That's what I mean. That's the reason I invited you,
Correct.
so that our young listeners would connect to you, and
Correct.
they'll be fascinated about what you have been and your journey. So
Yes.
they will also learn something from it. So
Correct.
that's the reason I invited you. So what's the biggest myth that people have about stock market?
So see, the biggest myth that people have about the markets is that it is easy money.
Mhm.
This is the biggest myth, because see, a lot of people started trading after the COVID era.
Okay.
Right, this is after 2020, where any stock that you put your money into gave you massive returns.
Okay.
Right, because the market had corrected and there was a crash, significant crash, almost 40%.
Yeah.
Anything that you put into it made you money.
Yeah.
So people bought into this idea that stock market can make you easy money.
Easy money. Yeah.
Right, and this is a myth. Right, people who had invested then made their money.
Mhm.
Right, and I don't know if they're still holding or sold it off. And the people who have entered right now, it's very difficult to make money right now.
Yeah.
If you see that there
Of
has
course.
been a correction recently because of the war and all this
Yeah.
situation right now.
That's right.
Right, so it's a myth that people have, that stock market can make you easy money. So yeah, that is one myth which I think the more you experience in the market.
What's the kind of standard return rate?
Okay, what can an investor expect? Let's say if they're a long-term investor.
Okay.
If you see the 25 years data of Nifty, it has given around 15%.
Yeah.
In that range, right? 12 to 15% is the CAGR that it has given. So any long-term investor, if he's investing in Indian equity, can surely make 12 to 15%, at least in the next 10 years. Because after that, once the economy grows and we get, let's say we're stable now. So at that point of time, the returns that equity will deliver will not be that significant. Which is why India, India, Singapore, all these markets are favorable to invest, because we are still developing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of scope to make money in equity.
Yeah.
So this is one myth that I would say investors have. It is an easy money.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the one lesson that every beginner investor must learn?
One lesson that every beginner investor should learn is that they have to start early. Like they can't wait to, some people say that, if I invest only 500 rupees, what will it make for me? Right?
Yeah.
500 will not give me any return. Right? Because why? Because they have seen this, sort of lifestyle that people put on social media.
Yeah.
Right? They are buying these expensive cars, jets,
They're fascinated by the
fluff,
portraying
I would say. Yeah. So people buy into this idea and forget the very basics. Like you have to start with very basic amount. Even if it's 100 rupees every month, if it's 200, 500 every month, you have to start it. Why? Not for the sake of making return, but for the sake of building financial discipline. Right? Because if you start investing and you have this idea that, okay, no matter what my income this month is, I have to set aside this much amount of money to invest in the markets, or maybe to invest in myself. Another thing that I would say to people of my age, younger than me, is that along with this, also try to invest in yourself, in your learning.
Yeah.
That will pay you the best interest, I feel, because whatever I made between 20 to 24, I reinvested that into my own learning. I learned about the markets. I met interesting people. And because it is because of the networks, it is because of the people that I find different opportunities at this point of time.
That's completely right. So
Yeah.
you made a significant point saying there should be a financial discipline. That's the
Yes.
reason you have to start investing very little, very early, and
Very early.
how much ever is possible, you have to just start investing.
Just start it. Yeah. It need not be a very big amount. You have to just start.
So how should someone approach risk in trading?
Risk is, I would say, it is the backbone of trading, right? Without risk, without taking risk, you will not make any return. That is one thing. If you take a lot of risk, then forget about making money. Even this is the second, like every coin has two faces, right?
Yeah.
So risk is that thing, right? It's good in one sense, but there is a concept called leverage in trading, right? Leverage is when, let's say you have 1 rupees.
Yeah.
You know you can buy 1 rupees worth of stock.
Yeah.
Leverage is that you bring 1 rupee, your broker will give you another 5 rupees. So it is 5x leverage.
Yeah.
You can trade with 5 rupees right now. But you only have 1 rupee in your pocket.
Yeah.
Right? So leverage is something that I would advise every beginner trader, investor to avoid. Yeah.
So
now
it's
SEBI,
kind of scary that
it's kind of, you can lose
repay.
money very easily. And back in 2000,
it's kind of loan, right?
It's kind of a loan, yes. And which is available in, like, it's very easily available.
Yeah.
It's very easy to use, right? It's like a weapon. I always say that leverage,
when used rightly, you can make good money.
You can make
if
good
not,
money.
you will be ruined,
losing all of the money that you have.
So beginners should avoid those.
Yes, it's like salt.
Yeah.
You have to know
you
how
need a
much
right
you like
proportion.
it. Yes. How comfortable you are with risk, how comfortable you are with leverage. It's like salt. Like, a lot of it will destroy your dish. Too little of it will not give any taste. Right? So it's like that. So risk in trading is that itself. Like, a few principle that you can follow is that, never risk more than 1% of your capital in any given trade.
Okay.
Now, somebody who is building their portfolio, let's say they are investing,
Yeah.
right? I would say, see, if you're doing your due diligence, if you're researching stocks, don't have more than 10 to 12 stocks in a portfolio. Never allocate more than 30% in one industry or one sector. And any given stock
among the total capital.
And in any given one stock, don't invest more than 10% of your capital.
Okay.
Because I always say this, that, no matter how confident you are with a company, I say even government can go bankrupt.
Yeah.
We have seen countries go bankrupt. What is that with a company, right?
Yeah.
So you never, never.
There are always ups and downs.
Always upside. There's always a downside as well. So risk is that.
Yeah. So do you remember one particular risk in your journey wherein it was a huge risk, and you also the outcome was a very good reward as well?
Okay, so I am a person who is very conservative with risk.
Okay.
Right. So there have been never days wherein I have made a lot of money or I have lost a lot of money.
It's not just about money. It's about risk and the reward.
Risk,
like
and,
our podcast name suggests.
Sure. So that one risk that I would say, if it's in this perspective, it would be, see, I was a very studious kid while growing up, right? My score was 90 plus in 10th as well. So of course, any student who has 90 plus goes to science field.
Okay.
So I chose science.
Default.
Yeah, it's a default setting that Indian parents have, and we also have. Right. So we did science. In science, I was there, right? It was for 2 years.
Okay.
And I didn't quite enjoy science. Like, I didn't quite enjoy chemistry, physics, or anything like that. My call was always finance. It was always business. But I felt that I was stuck with this. Right. So a lot of my friends, like 99% of my friends, were preparing for JEE.
Okay.
Right, for the entrance exams and everything. And I was, on the other hand, I was at the back seat and I was trading.
Oh.
I used to look at stocks. I used to look at cryptocurrency, how it's performing. So that was my calling. So I took the risk of not doing engineering. Although I was
so you figured out early.
Yeah. So the risk that I took was, I didn't choose engineering. I chose something as BBA, which gave me a lot of time, freedom to experiment on myself. That was one risk.
Also, you can learn finance.
Also, I can learn finance and things like that.
Easily.
Yeah. The reason I chose BBA was that it gave me freedom of my time. Like, because in engineering, you have all these assignments, vivas, and all sorts of things. You don't get time for yourself. The reason I chose was I could find time for myself. I started creating content in that point of time.
Yeah.
Right. So whatever.
And that clicked. And
content is a leverage.
Yeah.
In today's time, right? Whatever we are doing currently, it's a leverage for.
So you can consider it as a leverage for you.
Yes, it is a leverage for me. So these are the types of leverages I was working on back then. So yes.
But every content doesn't work.
Yes,
actually,
it doesn't work.
It needs to have that spark.
Correct. So yeah, this was one big risk. By not doing engineering, I chose BBA. But by choosing BBA, I got a lot of time to focus on myself, build my brand, and create content. So this is one risk.
So what's more important, timing the market or the time in the market?
Okay, timing or time in the market. If you spend enough time in the market, you will realize you can't time the market. This is what I would say.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would definitely say spending time in the market. The more you get arrogant with stock market, the more it humbles you down, is what I feel. Like, you feel like, let's say you have picked a particular stock and it has given massive return. So you will consider that
there is no revenge trading.
You will consider yourself to be the god. Like whatever stock I pick will give
shine.
massive returns. So that is proven wrong by the stock market every time. That is how the market works.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that is one thing. Yeah.
Market make you realize the reality.
Markets make you realize the reality. It humbles you as a person. You can see like the big traders and check out, like you can see Warren Buffett, grounded.
Yeah.
You can check Nikhil Kamath, Nitin Kamath. Again, very grounded guys.
Yeah.
So this only comes by, spending time in the market than timing the market.
Okay.
Because if you're timing the market, let's say you're right one time, two time, but it's ultimately the market that wins.
Yeah.
And when you're timing, when you're in the market for quite some years, then you'll understand where to play a defense, where to leave the ball, and where to hit the four. So timing doesn't work. Time spent in the market will work.
Okay. What is the most common mistake that you see new traders make?
Most common mistake that I see new traders make is taking debt to start trading. This is the most common mistake that I'm seeing nowadays.
They get money from their friends or family somewhere.
Exactly.
They think they can double up and they can give back
Yes. Nowadays, getting loan is as quick as 90 seconds. Right, with the rise
there
of
lots and lots
there's a lot of loan
platforms,
right? All the banks are also pushing you credit card. They are pushing you debt instruments. You can get a home loan at 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? There's a startup, I'm forgetting the name, that gives you home loan in 5 minutes. So it's getting debt is very easy nowadays, but people bring that debt into the market. Now, what they forget here is that you're taking debt, there is an obligation to pay it back. Let's say it's at 12% or 10%.
Yeah.
Markets, I'm saying that on good years make you 12% to 15%. So you're borrowing.
You cannot get consistently
cannot
a
get
particular
consistently.
profit, and you cannot pay back
Correct.
as you have borrowed.
Correct. So bringing in debt to trade the markets or any equity instrument is very wrong, because in equity, markets don't have an obligation to give you returns.
Yeah.
But with debt, you have an obligation to make return. To pay it back. So this is one beginner mistake that I would say.
So what's your take on crypto and its future in India?
Crypto and its future in India. See, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is there for the last 15 years or so.
Yeah.
Right. And it's emerging as an asset classes. Right. But is it a store of value? That is debatable, because gold is definitely a store of value. Let's say if I'm stranded on some particular island or if let's say I'm in a different city altogether, I don't have my money, don't have UPI, I can still exchange gold.
Okay.
Because gold has proven its worth from last 5,000 years. Crypto is very new, relatively new.
Yeah.
So again, Indian government, is it favorable? No. Is it not? It is not favorable in case of cryptocurrency. Apart from that, see, it's very much acceptable in the Western countries, very much acceptable in the Middle East. In fact, I was reading this the other day. Bhutan is like the 4th largest holder of cryptocurrency.
Okay.
Like 1/3 of its GDP is made up of this thing, crypto mining.
Yeah.
1/3 of its GDP. So you can see that it is also adopting. I would, if I were to suggest something on cryptocurrency, I would, see, it has significant risk.
Yeah.
There is a mantra: higher the risk, lower your allocation.
Yeah.
Higher the risk, lower your allocation. So if you
put some money.
You put some money. Try it out. It's a pure gamble that I'm saying right now. It's a pure gamble.
So because anytime the rules and regulations can change,
anything can change.
It will be nil and void.
Yes. So it's decentralized. If let's say you are sitting in India and you are holding a lot of cryptocurrency, okay, but let's say tomorrow Indian government says that we will not at all entertain cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
So even 1 crore worth of crypto you have, it's worth 0 in India.
Yeah.
Right. So you'll have to change your base again. You'll have to move to another country. So it brings all of these things.
That's a great message for all our listeners who have been into crypto, and they have to be very
cautious
when they are
yes,
allocating their
capital into cryptocurrency. Yes.
That's great. So is there any book or resource that shaped your investment journey?
See, I was not a big fan of books, to be very honest, right from the beginning. But when I was struggling with trading, when I was struggling with managing my time with trading, I read this book, right? It is by Mark Minervini.
Okay.
This is the author. He's a trader himself, right? I think the name of that book is Trade Like a Stock Market Wizard. This is the name of the book. right? In which he has shared his own journey. He has shared his strategy. It's called VCP, Volatility Contraction Pattern.
Okay.
So this is a very famous trading strategy, which I implemented, of course, with my own changes and how I fit into this particular strategy, right? And yes, that is one book that I would say that has changed the way I think about equity market, about momentum investing.
So it changed your mindset.
Yes, it did change my mindset. Yeah, so that is one book that I would highly recommend. Apart from that, there is the more you read, right, I would also suggest reading Bloom Ventures reports. So
Okay.
Bloom is I don't know if it's a VC, I think it's a venture capital, Bloom. So they publish the Indus Valley report every year. So this Indus Valley report, it has a lot of metrics for startups, how the entire Indian startup ecosystem is.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, so Bloom Ventures is one. And another thing that I would recommend is the shareholder letters that Warren Buffett writes to his shareholders.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can get this online, right? So Warren Buffett is running the company Berkshire Hathaway. So every year he writes annual letters to his shareholders.
Okay.
So that you can read. Also, Amazon's Jeff Bezos's shareholder letters. So these are 2 to 3 resources that you can.
I have never known about the shareholder letters as such.
Yeah.
But yeah, through this podcast, even our listeners would know something new. Like the Gen Z person like you would also have something to, spread across. I mean, spread awareness across.
Sure. So that is really the thing. Yeah.
What's your suggestion to someone who is stuck in financial fear or confusion? And how is it that, how is the finance career?
Okay. Firstly, for anybody who is stuck with any financial problem, I would say first clear out debt from your life.
Okay.
The first thing that I would suggest everybody, if you have no debt on yourself, that is not just, that is your, you have mental clarity to think on other things.
Yeah.
Right. So firstly, if you have taken any debt, any personal loan or anything like that, so home loans and all these things are long-term debt. Any short-term debt that you have, be it credit card loans or anything like that, clear it off first.
Okay.
Like before bringing in money into the equity market or investing, first clear off your debt and everything.
Yeah.
Then the next thing that you can do with your money is then bring it to equity markets.
Yeah.
And only put it in long-term instruments.
Yeah.
Right. And what I have seen, the easiest way to make long-term money is via mutual funds. Is what I have seen.
That's great.
Because in equity, you will have to somewhere or the other time the market in equity, whether be it your investment point of, the point of your investment or the point of your exit. You'll have to time the market. That is not favorable to a lot of people.
That's
of course, if somebody is into the markets for a long period of time, they can, even those guys fail 9 out of 10 times in the market. So a good way to make money in the long term is via mutual funds. Yeah, so that is one thing that I would say. In this condition, right, it's a mindset. You have to get yourself out of debt if there is any. And once you have done that, then you can probably start with investing, trading, so things like that.
Yeah. So we were also
careers
discussing about careers. So how is the finance career for the one who wanted to start?
Correct. See, what I would suggest, finance career is very rewarding, to be very honest. And if you look at stats, there are 150 crore approximately in India, hardly 10 crore demat accounts. And in that 10 crore also, people have multiple demat accounts. Now, if we look at the percentage of people investing in equity market in India, that is hardly around 5 to 10%, below that number. In US, it is close to 50%. So what am I saying? Because we are moving towards a developed economy, right? The financial, the people investing in financial markets will be a lot. The volume will be a lot. Obviously, to manage this volume, to cater to these clients, a lot of finance roles will get created. Right. So people who are in their, let's say, graduation, or let's say they have just completed PUC, there are certain things that are interesting in finance. First one is called financial modeling.
Okay.
Right. In financial modeling, let's say this is the studio. Right. Now, let's say, how much is the investment in the studio? That is my first question. Let's say I bring in the investment. What is the cash flow that this entire studio will generate for me on year one?
You meant when you want to start a studio. So you need to make some financial modeling
for the studio. Right? What are the cash flows that you will expect on year 1, year 2, year 3? What time will you, at what point of time you will break even? At what point of time you will start making money? So these questions are solved by a financial analyst. To bring it into a model, a financial modeling expert is there.
Okay, I guess this sounds like similar like revenue plans and
yes, projections, revenue
projections.
yes.
Yeah. So maybe now there are different terminologies for the
terminologies
same.
for that. Yeah. So there are careers in equity research as well.
Yeah.
So equity research is when based on your buy or sell recommendation, people are investing funds.
Yeah.
Right. So that is a career in equity research. Apart from this, there are careers in trading as well.
Yeah.
Right. You can be a prop trader. You can manage your own funds. You can trade with your own funds.
Yeah, that's
Apart from this, you can also get into roles like financial analyst. So at Climbing Minds, we do teach all of these things as well from scratch, because we know to, I mean, we are in this background and we have been doing it for 6-7 years and we only know this.
Okay.
And we don't know anything else apart from this, right?
Yeah.
So that is why we thought of starting this venture also.
Yeah.
Right, where we can guide students on all these aspects and help them build a career. So yes, it is rewarding, and yes, there will be a substantial demand.
That's been an amazing time with you, Rahul. So I think most of our listeners will, definitely get your suggestions, and they will know how to pursue their careers in finance and everything. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Shweta.